Being a better putter has such a positive effect on your scores, obviously, but you don't have a lot of time to practice. You don't have a lot of time to perfect the technique or read greens perfectly. I'm going to give you a couple of tips that I give students or people I'm playing with that make holding putts, not three putting, green reading and distance control so much easier. So let's start with some really quick and easy distance control tips. We've got an uphill putt here, up a pretty severe tier, if you will. Where uphill we've got a decent length putt. The way most of you will try and calibrate a putt, like any putt, you will end up standing over it. So you're over here and trying to gauge the right distance, okay? But your standard calibration, if you will, for the distance control is pretty much based on level putts. But a very easy, quick hack to help you just get it closer, to get the distance right, is to sort of approximate, because it's, you know, a fairly good slope and a fairly good length of putt. What I'm going to do to help me dial in my distances, I'm actually going to stand back a few feet, and the type of stroke I'm going to rehearse is actually as if I was from a flat position here. If this was a flat putt all the way up to the hole, that's the distance that I'm trying to calibrate. Now I go up to the putt without thinking I've got to hit it harder or softer. I'm just trying to execute that length of stroke that I just did that was up the slope, and it almost went in. But that works so much better. You don't have to be Phil Mickelson, Ben Crenshaw to have a good handicap when it comes to putting on the greens. You just have to not screw up too much. And let's show you a downhill one. Same applies for this downhill putt, but instead of standing behind it, what we're going to do is go forward a few feet, and I'm going to calibrate my distance as if this was the flat putt. So there's the speed that I want. I'm not trying to guess too much when I'm over the ball. I'm trying to find that point, that speed, that momentum with the stroke that I dialed in from there, and think, okay, I just need to try and replicate the same action. And on a downhill putt, it's going to give me the right type of roll and that distance control. And I didn't have to worry too much, because you are more talented at putting well than you think, especially when it comes to distance control. Understand your natural instincts, use them, especially on longer putts. Before I show you my tip about reading the break, just a little mention about technique, okay? One of the easiest ways you can find a nicer putting stroke is simply with the way you set up to it. If you avoid not being too sort of disconnected, where the elbows are sort of floating up this way and kind of working independently, we want to try and use our larger muscles to putt with, and not use the wrists, but also not just sort of rock the shoulders like so. We want a bit more stability with it. And the way you can do that and feel it very, very, very quickly is take your setup position, and what you're going to do is actually bring your putter to the side. So your elbow is touching the side here, okay? And then from there, you're going to move down into your setup position. And what you'll find is your upper arms, like this, you bring it in, okay? So I'm here, your upper arms are connected to your rib cage. That's the feeling that we want. That's the connection that I find gives people the most amount of stability in the stroke. Yes, there's refinement from there, but that quick tip can help a lot of you. So give that a try. Now we are on to green reading. You'll see a lot of people take so much time trying to read different breaks, whether it's uphill, downhill. We addressed the uphill or downhill putts a moment ago. But what about right to lefts or left to right? I'm really simplifying this. Okay, you got things like aim point, and obviously tons of practice can help green reading and knowing the course a little bit better. But the quickest way to give an assessment of where the putt is going to go is as follows. What you're going to do, instead of trying to read the break at first to say, okay, I want to be, let's say in this example, we probably want to be about, you know, 1.5 feet to the side that way. Okay, not a bad effort. But sometimes it's a little bit hard to see that, because there's kind of a lot going on. We've got the slope from up here, we've got the slope from down here, there's a ridge coming that way, there's a little bit of grain. A very quick way to see a putt's break, at least to get it close, because at this we're not trying to hole everything. You might, but we're not trying to hole everything. We're just trying to not screw up. That's what the tour players do, and that's what you should do as well. So as I look at this putt, for example, the first time I sit behind it, I'm not looking to see where I want to start it. So if I roll this at the hole pretty much straight, I wager it's going to go around to the left, okay? Bit of a bounce, but it curved that way. And it ended up about 2.5 feet left. As I look at this putt, what I want to do is say, okay, if I was going straight at it, it's going to move, you know, a couple of feet to the left. So what I want to look at is, all right, I'm going to aim, you know, 1.5 feet, a couple of feet to the right. And I'm just going to hit a straight putt to there, and it should just curve around. But that gave me a hit through the break a little bit, but that gave me a very quick assessment without having to worry too much what was going on. It got me close enough to 2-putt and hopefully sometimes 1-putt. But let me show you a little bit more. This is kind of an extreme slope. There's a big ridge and it's going to kick it to the right. I want to just show you that if I aim more or less straight, okay, and I hit this putt more or less straight, how far right is that going to go? Okay, it kept sort of rolling down the hill, but that is a few feet to the right, maybe 3 feet. So what I'm going to do with this putt is aim just about the same that missed right. I'm going to aim about the same left. And it should just dribble around. It might not be perfect, but it's giving you a very simple formula to start reading greens better. There we have it. Remember the distance control. Stand a little bit further back, or a little bit further forward to calibrate yourself. When trying to read a break, just choose right at the hole first and then see where it teeters off. It's going to give you a very quick but pretty good idea about where the putt's falling. And you should hole more putts, miss less 3 putts. Everyone's a winner. Keep at it and check out this video next, because you need to get on the green in less shots as well, and this is going to help you. See you next time.